Well, this one certainly did not go as expected. This was quite the upset. A team that only had 2 losses lost to a team that only had 2 wins. Pittsburgh has now lost 3 straight. Let's talk about why. Let's talk about what's going wrong with their offense. Because defensively, it's gotten a little bit worse, but that's largely just, I think, through injuries, at least to some degree. Offensively, there also has been some injuries, but I want to talk about what is going wrong as a whole. So first, we got to start off with Ben. Ben did not play a good game. Let's just get into it, and we'll start off with this play. So this is going to be a zone coverage play. There's a receiver running a route that is good against zone coverage. This can work, especially because this is going to be a play action. And spoiler alert, Cincinnati is going to fall for the play action pretty heavily. So this is something that can absolutely be a good thing for Pittsburgh. But you know how basically in every Steelers game, there's been some sort of graphic talking about how amazing it is that Ben Roethlisberger is getting rid of the ball quickly. Everyone talks about this shift. And it's not always good. In fact, it can be bad in several instances. I think a big part of the shift is because the offensive line just hasn't been good this year. I mean, the reality is they've had some injuries, so that factors in for sure. And also, they have some guys in their 30s that they were better when they were in their 20s. I mean, let's just be real. But anyways, right when this play starts, what you're going to notice is that really Roethlisberger should wait a little bit longer before making this throw. The ideal throwing window would be just right over the middle of the field right now. That's when Roethlisberger should make this throw, but he's going to throw it now, and part of it is because he is under pressure, and so he just wants to get rid of the ball quickly, and I think that's just a mistake. I think that you got to wait and then make it the throw over the middle, but basically he has to make mistakes because the offensive line hasn't given him enough time. Ben throws it anyways, and that should have been an interception. He got away with one right there. Honestly, if you can't wait to make sure that you can make that throw, he should just take a sack. But the reality is he's making these mistakes because other teammates are letting him down. That's obviously not an excuse for making a bad play, but it is a reason. This one, there's no one he can point fingers towards. This was just a bad play. It's going to be zone coverage, a cover 2 zone for Cincinnati, and they have a concept that can work pretty well against cover 2. So this is, again, on paper, we're talking about a good situation. It's also a 3rd down and 12 at midfield, so I understand maybe wanting to play a little aggressive here. They're down 10 points already. There's 6 minutes left in the second quarter, so plenty of time, but again, I understand the appeal of wanting to play aggressive, but this is a concept that can work. However, once Roethlisberger takes a snap, he looks up, and really, you're going to see a Cincinnati player play this one absolutely perfect. This is exactly what you want to do, where he's passing off one Pittsburgh receiver, and he's going to make sure he now covers Juju Smith-Schuster, who that's the guy they really wanted to throw to. That was the hope on this play for Ben Roethlisberger. That player for Cincinnati is number 21, Mackenzie Alexander. So, again, great job by him. He played it well. For Roethlisberger, it sucks, but you do have to make a different decision. Honestly, what you could do is just throw it to Claypool. He's the one who's in that black circle. Because, he's getting passed off. There maybe is a small window. That would be risky, but you can't throw it to 19. You can't throw it to Smith-Schuster on display. You just can't. He does anyway, and it's just an easy interception, and I don't know if he just got fooled. Maybe it's possible every now and then you can't see what's going on over the offensive line, but I think he had a clear path, so I don't really understand that one whatsoever. I think maybe he just didn't think that Alexander was going to stay put like that, and he made a mistake. Just a bad play. Just one you can't make if you're Roethlisberger. There also was, in fairness, just some straight-up good plays by Cincinnati. Like, every time a good team loses to a bad team, everyone wants to talk about what went wrong. You got to give the Bengals some credit to some degree as well. They made some good plays. They did. This one's a great example. It's man coverage. It's a one-on-one matchup. Again, this is going to be Mackenzie Alexander. He really had a good day, and he's going up against Smith-Schuster in a one-on-one matchup that can work out pretty well. I mean, this is complete one-on-one. There's going to be no safety help since it's going towards the sideline, and it's a cover 1 play. But again, Alexander, you're going to see he lets up no separation and great ball skills to knock the ball away. He does a little bit of showboating, and that gets flagged. I think that's a complete joke. I think there's no reason that in a game where these guys are playing such a physical, violent sport, that little bit of showboating gets you a flag. I think it's ridiculous, and I think the ref who threw it should be ashamed of himself. I mean, why is that a penalty? Why do we make it a rule that you can't do that little thing? It makes zero sense to me. Is it annoying? Sure, it's annoying. I get why I would be annoyed if I was a Pittsburgh Steelers player or even fan, But at the same time, so what? You should have a right to be annoying. It's about who's the better football team, not who's the least annoying. I just think that's silly. But yeah, my basic point is that, sorry for ranting a bit, but my basic point is just that there were some good Cincinnati plays as well. It wasn't all Pittsburgh bad, but sometimes it was both as well. Like right here. So this is going to be something Pittsburgh likes to do. A quick wide receiver screen. It makes some sense to have some players who can do a really good job once they get the ball in open space. So Roethlisberger takes the snap, and you see Ray McCloud. For one thing, he didn't really do a great job of selling. This could be any kind of route. It's pretty obvious at this point it's going to be a wide receiver screen, and so for Cincinnati, the player who's in charge of covering him, he read it very quickly, and so he knows, okay, try to get over in that area. The defensive back in the area is Darius Phillips. As you see, he's already kind of getting close to McCloud. So, good read by him as well. Wasn't great by McCloud, but, fine. This is not the end of the world for Pittsburgh. This play can still work out because, again, the tackle is coming out. He's trying to make sure he can then block for McCloud. And so for McCloud, help out your offensive lineman. Run closer to the middle of the field. That's what you have to do. A lot of people are going to see this and say the tackle got out slow, but it really wasn't the tackle's fault. It's McCloud's fault. Watch how McCloud takes it and then continues to run towards the outside and runs right into a tackle. And honestly, if you look at what was further out, they had another offensive lineman who was going to block the safety. There is a non-zero chance that this play ended up resulting in a touchdown. There really is. It probably wouldn't have happened. Probably another Bengal would have found a way to make the play. But if this play was ran perfectly, a touchdown isn't out of the question. It really wasn't. And it was ran horribly by McCloud, and that just can't happen. You also got to give credit to Cincinnati for playing it well, but also it was just Pittsburgh didn't do what they should do, and that's a large part of why things were just difficult for them. Even on plays that worked, like this one, it's just difficult, where it's going to be, you're going to have Deontay Johnson running a go route against man coverage, only a safety deep, so since he's already lined up at the numbers, this can absolutely work out, and Roethlisberger is going to look in that direction. Ben takes the snap, doesn't even really think about it really at all. He kind of looked off to the left and then immediately just says, okay, I'm throwing it to Deontay Johnson. Let's just hope this works out. That was his mindset, which, again, he kind of felt like he had to take risk. And the easy plays aren't working, so you got to try to do something difficult a little bit. This was early on in the third quarter, so down 17, they're trying to make something happen. Johnson ends up getting a bit of separation, pushes off a little. There was a little push off, but I like the no call. I don't think it was egregious at all, so good play by Johnson, I would say. Gets a touchdown, but again, that's just difficult, where you have to have guys make tough plays and win 50-50 balls, and it's just hard to do that consistently in the NFL. Also, the running game was just a complete disaster, like on this one. Really, the key block I want you to look at is going to be 89, the tight end. He's going to pull over and block a linebacker, so that's a key block on this one. But also, I want you to take a look at right tackle Okafor. This is not going to be a great job by him. This really isn't. As you see, he kind of loses his one-on-one matchup. In fairness, the run's not really supposed to go towards him, so he's not too concerned about it. Again, he's trying to, but he's mostly just focused on trying to get that Cincinnati player further to the right. It's not a horrible block, but it's definitely not a great one either. The issue is now just going to be that there appears to be some issues on that side of the field. For Vance McDonald, he's the tight end who is pulling over. He now sees that, and he's going to try and now help out his tackle, which he shouldn't do. He has to stick with his assignment and block the linebacker to give Benny Snell some opportunities here. So Snell is kind of thinking, hey, I'm going to just try to run forward because this is a 3rd down and 1. So this is a huge rushing play. You just need a yard. He's just going to try and cut as quick as he can to pick up 1. He's fine with giving up a chance at 7 yards for a guaranteed 2 yards because it's that's what he needs. So McDonald helps out that side, but the linebacker runs up. He's able to make a quick tackle on Benny Snell, and that's just not a good play. So again, you can look at that and say, well, it was a good defensive play, and it was, but at the same time, you just gotta block better, and the running game just has not been blocked well at all. All right, I want to break down this final sequence. So, Pittsburgh, they got some tough plays. As I said, the plays that work tend to be sort of the low percentage plays, but they worked. That was at least most of it, and, they had some success with it. They scored 17 points in the second half, but then they would be in this spot. So there's 2 minutes and 17 seconds left. It's the fourth quarter, obviously, and they only have one timeout, so they need to score on this drive or it's over. This is a first down and 10. And so this would be the first play. It's a cover 3 zone by Cincinnati, but it's really well disguised. It really is. I mean, for Roethlisberger, I think he's going to believe this is man coverage pre-snap, which really you just have to give credit to Cincinnati for a good disguise. Cincinnati is showing blitz, so for Roethlisberger and for the Steelers, they have guys who are going to be blocking on this play. A tight end and back are just going to straight up block on this one, even though it's still going to only be 4-man rush. And I also should mention, while it is going to be a 4-man rush, they're also going to have a defensive back off the edge be someone who's rushing. So very creative stuff here for Cincinnati. And when Roethlisberger takes the snap, nothing gets open. Cincinnati does a great job of just understanding their assignment. Maybe Ben could have thrown for something underneath, but we've only gotten a couple yards. He basically tries for a very low percentage play, to say the least, just to get a few yards. Didn't work out. I mean, it was worth a shot. But yeah, I mean, really just a good disguise by Cincinnati. That one I don't think is a big deal. Hey, sometimes your opposing defense does a good job. This next play was rough, though. I mean, look at the play concept for Pittsburgh. What are you doing here? Like, I don't know what they think is going to work on this one. There is a couple of routes that I like against man coverage typically, but really, there's such a small success of these things working out, and you need a receiver to run a great route. So yeah, you have a lot of good receivers, but I still feel like for Pittsburgh, I don't know if I love any of these guys as a true number 1 receiver. They basically have like 4 number 2 receivers, but I don't know if they have a number 1. Deontay Johnson is good, but these are tough routes to win. I mean, a curl route against man, it can work, but it's tough. Also, if you look at the number 2 receiver on the top of the screen, I feel like his route is relatively pretty lackadaisical on this one. Like, watch, he barely even tries, let's be honest, and there was just nothing working. Roethlisberger also faced immediate pressure and just threw the ball away immediately. So that's just a mess on all fronts, right? The pressure went, so Roethlisberger had to get rid of the ball. Nothing was open. The receivers weren't able to do their job and get open, but also the play calling didn't do a good job because it didn't put him in a position to succeed. So this is just a failure everywhere, honestly, except for the quarterback. Roethlisberger did a good job of getting rid of the ball. So a lot of people have blamed Ben for this one. He deserves blame. He does. But if you're saying that if you get a new quarterback, this team's going to be completely different, you're just wrong. This is a team that has a lot of issues on offense. So then it would be third down, and they would do this play where a lot of stuff deep. They're throwing the ball deep on this one, which, again, I just don't know if I love. For one thing, Cincinnati has 2 safeties deep, and it's clear to have them deep. So maybe only one will stay deep, and again, Pittsburgh has 3 players who are running deep, so I think the hope is that that can work. And this could work against zone, but, we know it's not zone. I just feel like don't be afraid to face a 4th down. It's a lot better of a situation to face a 4th and 3 than a 4th and 10. So don't be afraid to just try and gain some yards here, and you don't have to get all of it back on this one play. But again, Roethlisberger takes the snap, and he's basically forced to throw into triple coverage, which does not work. Actually had a chance of working. There was not a 0% chance of it working. There's even a little bit of contact. Maybe they hope they could get a flag. But that's just such a low percentage play. And again, that's my point. It's not that these plays can't work. It's that these plays are very difficult and aren't going to work consistently. So finally, 4th down, they're going to look at James Washington, who, in fairness, has made quite a bit of clutch plays for Pittsburgh. And this is, again, kind of a low percentage play. He's just getting past the 1st down marker. But in this situation, you kind of need a low percentage play because it's 4th down. And, it's just going to be tough to get the 1st down here regardless. There is no high percentage play in this situation. So, it's a one-on-one matchup. That's how it works. And so Ben Roethlisberger is going to take the snap here. And as you see, again, there's just pressure immediately. So Roethlisberger, from his blind side, is facing pressure. He doesn't really know about the pressure. And he's going to try and fire one anyways to Washington, who he has no clue if Washington's going to get open. He had to make a selection pre-snap and hope for the best. There is contact. Roethlisberger throws it high, and that's your football game. You just lost to the now 3-win Cincinnati Bengals. It just can't happen. Again, I keep saying it can't happen. There's so many plays that just, I feel like they can't happen. You can't have your offensive line completely choke in that moment. Roethlisberger, under pressure, you still got to be able to make that throw, although it's a little bit more forgivable because of the pressure, but still, you do have to make that throw. This fourth down in isolation isn't a bad play whatsoever, but the reason why I don't love it is just because of the 3 plays before it, and they should have never been in this situation to begin with. It's just, there's so many problems with this offense, and everyone's going to blame Ben, but they have a lot of issues. I do think the fact that they don't have a true number 1 guy, I think it hurts them, even though they have so many talented wide receivers. I think they need a number 1 guy. The much bigger issue, of course, is the offensive line's just been bad. It just has, and they need to fix that. They have a lot of work to do there. They could use a back, although, James Conner's been hurt. Hard to blame them too much for that. And there have been injuries on the offensive line. But I think the real difference with this Pittsburgh Steelers team is earlier on in the season, their defense was completely lights out. They've had injuries. It's not quite as good as it once was. I still think it's pretty good, but it's just not good enough to carry this offense that's been weak, and it has clear issues. It's frustrating to watch, and I honestly don't know how much hope there is for Pittsburgh. I think the fact that they have a defense that has shown it can take over games, I still think Bud Dupree being out just changes the defense, but, maybe they can find some things. Maybe they still have opportunities. I mean, TJ Watt gives you a chance to win any game. He really does. That guy's been incredible, but they just have it's a lot more difficult with the injuries. I think they have an excuse. I think they have a valid excuse on defense. On offense, though, they have to get it together. No excuses. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.